Philosophies Revived.
Have you ever stopped in the middle of your day and felt like everything is off? Like there's an invisible hand guiding you, steering your decisions, setting the stage for your life? You wake up, go through the motions, and end the day feeling like you're stuck in an endless loop. What if I told you that this isn't just a coincidence or a fleeting thought? It's the very foundation of the reality you live in. Imagine this. You're on a treadmill, running faster and faster. But no matter how hard you push, you never seem to get anywhere. That's the reality most of us are trapped in. And the scariest part? We don't even realize it. We're told to believe we're free, that we have choices, that life is what we make of it. But what if all those choices were pre-written, carefully curated to keep us in line? Take a second to think about your life. The job you chose, the way you spend your free time, even the dreams you're chasing, how much of it feels authentically yours? Or is it all part of a larger script written by someone else? From the ads you see to the news you consume, every piece of your environment is designed to shape your thoughts and actions. This video isn't just a conspiracy theory or a collection of random ideas. It's a wake-up call, a chance to look beyond the surface and see the truth hiding in plain sight. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once you know it, you can't unknow it. And that's exactly why you're here, isn't it? Because deep down, you've always felt like something's off. Like there's more to life than what you've been told. Stick with me, and I'll show you how to pull back the curtain and see reality for what it truly is. Not the polished, perfectly designed facade you've been living in, but the raw, unfiltered truth of what lies beneath. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand the cage you're in, you'll know how to break free from it. Ready to step off the treadmill? The invisible cage, how it all begins. Picture this. You wake up to the sound of your alarm, groggily reach for your phone and start scrolling. Notifications, updates, likes, comments. Your day hasn't even begun. And already, you're plugged into the system. You rush through your morning routine, grab a coffee on the way to work, spend hours at a desk doing tasks you may or may not care about, and then come home too exhausted to do anything but zone out in front of a screen. Sound familiar? That's the invisible cage. But here's the catch. This cage isn't made of bars or chains. It's built from habits, routines, and expectations. It feels normal, even comfortable, because it's all you've ever known. And that's exactly what makes it so effective. You don't question it because you don't see it for what it is. A carefully constructed illusion designed to keep you busy, distracted, and obedient. Think about the routines you follow. They seem harmless, right? But routines, while helpful in moderation, can also be traps. The system doesn't want you to have too much free time. It wants you to be just busy enough that you don't stop to ask the big questions. Why do we live this way? Who decided this was normal? And most importantly, who benefits from it? The answer lies in the design. The world we live in is structured to maintain order and control. The 9-to-5 grind keeps you productive, the endless stream of content keeps you entertained, and the promise of a better life keeps you motivated to stay in the system. It's all so seamless, so subtle, that you don't even realize it's happening. But here's the truth. The cage isn't real. It's an illusion. And like any illusion, it falls apart the moment you stop believing in it. The first step to breaking free is recognizing that the cage exists. Start paying attention to the patterns in your life. Notice how much of your day is spent on autopilot, how often you do things because you're supposed to, not because you want to. Once you see the cage, you'll start to notice the cracks. And that's where freedom begins, not by smashing the cage, but by slipping through the gaps in its design. The illusion of choice. Let's talk about choice. On the surface, it feels like we have plenty of it, doesn't it? You can choose what to eat, what to wear, what to watch. You can pick your career, your hobbies, even your political beliefs. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most of these choices aren't as free as they seem. Think of it like a menu at a restaurant. You're given a list of options, and it feels like you have control because you get to pick. But who decided what's on the menu in the first place? That's the part we don't question. We're so focused on making choices within the system that we forget to ask who built the system and why. Take a look at your life. Why do you work the job you work? Why do you live where you live? Why do you want the things you want? For most of us, the answers trace back to societal expectations, marketing, and conditioning. We're told what success looks like: a big house, a fancy car, a high-paying job, and we spend our lives chasing it, often without stopping to ask if it's what we truly want. The illusion of choice is one of the most powerful tools of control. It keeps you busy, distracted, and feeling like you're in charge when, in reality, you're following a script. It's not about what you choose. It's about the fact that the options themselves are limited. It's a game designed to make you feel free while keeping you inside the box. But here's the thing. Real freedom isn't about having more choices. It's about questioning the system that defines those choices in the first place. What if you could step outside the menu entirely? What if you could create your own options, your own path, your own definition of success? The moment you start asking these questions, the illusion begins to crumble. You realize that the life you've been living isn't the only one available to you. There's a whole world beyond the box, a world where you get to decide what matters, what's worth pursuing, and what's worth letting go. So, the next time you're faced with a choice, ask yourself, is this truly my decision, or am I playing by someone else's rules? Because breaking free starts with choosing differently, not from the menu, but from your heart. The architects of the simulation. Behind every system, there's a designer. And behind the simulation we live in, there are architects, powerful, invisible forces that shape our reality without us even noticing. But who are they? And why do they care so much about keeping us in line? The architects aren't people per se. They're systems, massive, interconnected structures that have been built over centuries. Think about it. Governments, corporations, media networks, education systems. Each one plays a role in creating and maintaining the simulation. They define the rules, set the boundaries, and decide what's considered normal. Take the education system, for example. From a young age, we're taught to follow instructions, obey authority, and conform to societal norms. We're graded, ranked, and sorted into categories, all while being told it's for our own good. But what if the real purpose isn't to educate us, but to condition us? To prepare us to fit neatly into the system without questioning it? Or consider the media. It's not just entertainment, it's a tool for shaping perception. The news you watch, the movies you enjoy, the ads you see, they all carry subtle messages about what's important, what's possible, and what's worth aspiring to. And then there are corporations, which profit from your desires, your fears, and your insecurities. They sell you solutions to problems you didn't even know you had, keeping you locked in a cycle of consumption and dissatisfaction. But here's the genius of the architects. They don't force you to do anything. They don't need to. Instead, they create a world where the easiest, most comfortable path is the one that benefits them the most. They make you want the cage. They make you believe it's your choice. The good news? Once you see the system for what it is, you can start to step outside of it. The architects may be powerful, but they're not invincible. Their greatest strength is their invisibility, and their greatest weakness is awareness. The moment you start questioning the rules, the moment you start noticing the patterns, the illusion begins to crack. The architects have spent centuries perfecting their system, but they didn't count on you waking up. And once you're awake, there's no going back. Breaking the spell, the first step to freedom. Freedom starts with a single radical act: noticing. Noticing that the life you've been living may not be entirely your own. It's like waking up from a dream and realizing the rules you've been following were part of someone else's game all along. But how do you start noticing the bars of this invisible cage? It begins with awareness. Think about your daily life. You probably have a routine wake up, check your phone, go to work or school, come home and repeat. How much of that routine feels intentional, like something you actively chose? And how much of it feels automatic, like a script you're unconsciously following? Here's a simple exercise. For one day, observe your habits. When you reach for your phone, pause and ask yourself why. Are you checking for something important, or are you just filling a moment of boredom? When you spend money, ask yourself if it's for something you truly need or something you've been conditioned to want. When you feel the urge to scroll through social media, notice how it makes you feel excited, anxious, drained. This kind of self-awareness is like shining a flashlight in a dark room. You start to see the corners you've been ignoring, the patterns you've been repeating, the invisible forces that have been steering your actions. And once you see them, they lose their power. But awareness is just the first step. The next step is to question, why do we live the way we do? Why do we work ourselves to exhaustion? Why is success measured by material possessions instead of happiness or fulfillment? The moment you start asking these questions, the spell begins to break. Here's the thing, the system thrives on your unconscious participation. It relies on you going through the motions, staying too busy or too distracted to look up and see the bigger picture. But the moment you stop and question the status quo, you're no longer a passive player. You're taking back your power. Breaking the spell doesn't mean dropping everything and running away to live in the mountains, though if that's your calling, go for it. It means reclaiming your mind. It means choosing to live deliberately instead of letting the simulation dictate your every move. The first step is simple, but not easy. Notice, question, and choose. That's how you begin to break the spell and take the first steps toward true freedom. The power of your mind. Let's talk about your mind for a moment. Most of us treat it like a passenger in life's journey, sitting quietly in the back seat while the world drives us wherever it pleases. But what if I told you that your mind isn't a passenger, it's the engine? It's the most powerful tool you'll ever own, capable of shaping your reality in ways you can't even imagine. Here's how it works. Your thoughts are like seeds. Every thought you plant in your mind grows into something real. If you plant fear, self-doubt, or negativity, your reality will reflect that. But if you plant courage, confidence, and possibility, your world will start to shift in ways that feel almost magical. Think back to a time when you were absolutely convinced something was going to go wrong. Maybe you were dreading a big presentation or a difficult conversation. Chances are, your fears became a self-fulfilling prophecy. You stumbled over your words, or the interaction went worse than you imagined. Why? Because your mind was already primed for failure. Now flip the script. Think about a time when you believed in yourself, when you felt unstoppable. Remember how the universe seemed to align in your favor, how opportunities appeared out of nowhere, how everything just clicked. That wasn't luck. That was your mind shaping your reality. The architects of the simulation understand this better than anyone. That's why they work so hard to control what you think. Through media, advertising, and social norms, they plant seeds of fear, insecurity, and conformity. They want you to doubt yourself because a doubtful mind is easy to manipulate. But here's the good news. Your mind belongs to you. No one else can control it unless you let them. And the moment you take back that control, you unlock a kind of freedom most people never experience. Start small. Pay attention to your thoughts. Are they helping you, or are they holding you back? If they're holding you back, challenge them. Replace "I can't" with "what if I could?" Replace "this is just how things are" with "how could this be different?" Your mind is like a muscle. The more you use it consciously, the stronger it gets. And as it grows stronger, so does your ability to shape your reality. The power to break free isn't out there somewhere, it's right here, in your own mind. All you have to do is use it. The glitches in the matrix. Have you ever experienced a moment of déjà vu? A fleeting sense that you've been here before, done this before, even though it's impossible. Or maybe you've noticed patterns in your life, coincidences that feel too deliberate to ignore. These are the glitches in the matrix, the cracks in the illusion. And once you start noticing them, you can't stop. Think about it. Life often feels too predictable. You run into the same types of people, face the same problems, see the same numbers on the clock, or the same sequence of events. It's as if reality is running on a loop, repeating itself in subtle, almost imperceptible ways. These moments aren't random. They're hints that the simulation isn't as seamless as it seems. Let me tell you a story. There was a woman who noticed something strange about her morning commute. Every day, at the same stoplight, she saw the same car with the same driver at the same time. At first, she thought it was a coincidence. But as the weeks went by, the pattern persisted. It was like the simulation was recycling its assets, like a video game reusing characters to save processing power. These glitches aren't just limited to déjà vu or patterns. Have you ever had a dream so vivid, it felt more real than waking life? Or a moment where time seemed to slow down, where you felt like you were outside the flow of reality? These are cracks in the system, moments where the simulation struggles to keep up. But here's the key. Noticing the glitches isn't enough. You have to act on them. The next time you experience one, don't brush it off as nothing. Pay attention. Ask yourself what it could mean. Could it be a sign that the rules you've been following aren't as fixed as you thought? Could it be an invitation to question, to explore, to break free? The glitches are your opportunity to see the system for what it is. They're like breadcrumbs, leading you out of the maze. All you have to do is follow them. If you've made it this far, you've already taken the first step: awareness. But awareness alone won't set you free. You need tools, practical methods to break the chains of the simulation, bit by bit, until you can finally start living a life that's truly your own. And the good news? These tools aren't locked away in some secret vault. They're available to you right now. The first tool is questioning. Start asking why. Why do you wake up to an alarm every morning? Why is your free time spent the way it is? Why do you feel the need to buy the latest gadget or wear certain clothes? Who benefits from your choices? These questions might seem simple, but they're powerful. They shine a light on the hidden systems pulling the strings in your life. Next, there's disconnecting from the noise. The simulation thrives on distraction. Social media, news cycles, endless notifications. These are the tools it uses to keep you too busy to think. So, unplug. Even for an hour a day, go for a walk without your phone. Sit in silence. The more time you spend outside the system's noise, the more clearly you'll see the patterns within it. Then there's mindfulness. This isn't just about meditation or yoga. It's about being fully present in your life. Notice the details. How does your body feel when you're stressed? What thoughts run through your mind when you're scrolling through social media? The more aware you become of your internal state, the less control the simulation has over you. Another tool is redefining success. The system has sold you a version of success that keeps you chasing things: money, status, possessions. But ask yourself, what does success really mean to you? Is it peace of mind, freedom, deep, meaningful relationships? Start living by your definition, not the one you've been handed. Finally, embrace chaos and unpredictability. The simulation thrives on routine and predictability. So, shake things up. Take a different route to work. Try a new hobby. Talk to a stranger. These small acts of defiance might seem insignificant, but they create cracks in the system openings for something new to emerge. Remember, breaking free isn't about tearing the system down. It's about stepping outside of it, one conscious choice at a time. Use these tools every day, and you'll begin to see the invisible cage for what it is: a construct you no longer have to accept. The path ahead. Breaking free from the simulation isn't a one-time event. It's not a moment of sudden liberation where everything changes overnight. It's a journey, a process of peeling back layers, uncovering truths, and reclaiming your power one step at a time. And like any journey, it's going to challenge you, but it's also going to transform you. The first thing you need to know is that the path ahead will feel uncomfortable. The simulation is designed to keep you comfortable, to make the familiar feel safe and the unknown feel dangerous. When you step outside of that comfort zone, your mind will resist. It'll tell you to go back, to stick with what you know, to stop questioning things. That resistance is the system fighting to keep you asleep. Don't let it win. Instead, embrace the discomfort. Let it be a sign that you're on the right track. Growth doesn't happen in the safety of the known, it happens in the uncertainty of the unknown. Think of it like exercising a muscle. The initial strain is uncomfortable, but it's also a sign that you're getting stronger. As you continue on this path, you'll start to see the world differently. The things that once seemed so important, status, possessions, validation, will lose their grip on you. You'll begin to find joy in the simple, the meaningful, the real. You'll notice patterns you never saw before, connections that were invisible to you when you were stuck in the system's script. But here's the most important thing. This journey isn't just about you. It's about everyone. The more people wake up to the simulation, the weaker it becomes. Every conscious choice you make ripples out into the world, inspiring others to question, to explore, to break free. The path ahead isn't easy. You'll face doubts, setbacks, and moments where it feels like nothing is changing. But don't give up. Every step you take brings you closer to a life of true freedom. A life where you're no longer just a character in someone else's story, but the author of your own. So, what's your next step? What's one thing you can do today to break free, even just a little? Whatever it is, do it. Because the path to freedom doesn't start tomorrow, it starts right now. The realization of true freedom. Freedom is a word that gets thrown around a lot, but what does it really mean? For most of us, freedom has been defined by the system. The ability to make choices, to pursue goals, to live the life we want. But as we've uncovered, most of those choices are illusions. Most of those goals are scripted. And the life we're told to want isn't always the one that will make us truly happy. Real freedom isn't about doing whatever you want. It's about understanding why you want it. It's about breaking free from the programming that tells you what's possible, what's valuable, and what's worth your time. It's about seeing the invisible forces that shape your reality and choosing to step outside of them. But here's the twist. True freedom isn't about escaping the system entirely. It's about learning to work within it, consciously and deliberately. Think of the simulation like a river. Most people are swept along by the current, powerless to change its direction. But once you wake up, you can start swimming. You can choose where to go, how fast to move, and even whether to stay in the water at all. The realization of true freedom comes when you stop looking outside yourself for answers. The system wants you to believe that freedom comes from external things, money, success, approval. But real freedom is internal. It's the ability to think for yourself, to question what you've been told, and to make choices that align with who you truly are. And here's the best part. The more you practice true freedom, the more the system begins to lose its hold on you. The ads that used to manipulate you no longer work. The routines that used to trap you become opportunities for exploration. The fears that used to control you lose their power. Freedom isn't something you achieve once and for all. It's something you practice every day, in every moment, with every choice you make. It's a journey, not a destination. And the more you walk that path, the more you'll discover just how vast, how beautiful, and how full of possibility your reality truly is. So, what will you choose? Will you keep running the program, or will you start writing your own code? The choice, as always, is yours.